Hello, good evening to you and welcome to News 360. The bulletin is coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adiso Kanda. I'm Natalie Fort.
And my name is Alfred Okansi. Coming up in the bulletin tonight.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray,
Premier Health Insurance, Calipo, and Nido Fortigro. Your love, their future. Supreme Court quashes judgment by the Winneba High Court, which found Vice Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, and 4 others guilty of procurement breaches.
The leadership of the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, CCT, serves notice to embark on strike from tomorrow, November 1, over salary arrears and insurance policy deductions.
Also ahead this evening, residents along parts of the Eastern Corridor Road appeal for work on the project to resume.
And in business tonight, the Institute of Energy Security IES and CATS International calls for scrapping of the special petroleum tax on fuel to reduce the burden on consumers.
And on the foreign front tonight, Nigerian police arrest 400 members of a Shia Muslim sect after days of deadly protest in the capital. Stay with us here on News 360 for the details of these stories and much more news. You could watch us all across the world on 3news.com and channel 279 on DSTV.
Let's go into our first story this evening, where the Supreme Court has quashed a Winneba High Court ruling that found Professor Mauto Avoke, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, and 4 others guilty of procurement breaches, which led to them being asked to step aside. Now, the Apex Court, in a unanimous ruling, maintained the Winneba High Court failed to take evidence from the parties in the case before granting judgment. Here's a report by Selim Amenya.
In December 2017, a High Court in Winneba ordered that the Vice Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Mauto Avoke, be relieved of his position after it pronounced a guilty verdict against him. The finance officer of the institution also Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Mauto Avoke, be relieved of his position after it pronounced a guilty verdict against him. The finance officer of the institution also faced the same fate.
The Supreme Court in its judgment said the High Court failed to take evidence from the parties before delivering its judgment in default of defense. The decision of the High Court therefore amounted to an error on the face of the record.
It contends that the High Court breached the laws of natural justice by not affording the defendant a hearing.
Based on these reasons, the Apex Court quashed the Winneba High Court decision. The decision of the Supreme Court paves way for a rehearing of the matter and determination. Selim Amenya, TV3, Accra.
As you have not seen the full judgment on this, recall what the Supreme Court read today was the conclusion of their ruling, and there could be some consequential orders in the full judgment, which we're waiting to get full briefing on. But Professor Ephraim Yainso is the principal of the College of Languages at the University of Education, Winneba. He joins me on the telephone on this. Prof, thank you for time. I recall that you were really against this whole process that got Professor Avoke out of office. Now, how does this particular ruling get to you and the people on the University of Education, Winneba campus?
Well, thank you very much, and greetings to all your wonderful listeners. It's an exciting news for all of us. For many of us, we think an injustice has been done for a very long time. For these people who have, particularly for Avoke, who has worked here for all his life. His father was working here too before that, and then he continued after here. So he's actually a Winneba person. with all the family. So it's good that finally there's something that says, please, you still have your reputation, you have your respect. We as the apex court of this nation, recognize that what was done at the Winneba High Court was wrong, and that we give you justice today. So for us, for most of us here who have not really been happy about what has been going on, and have been looking for the reconciliatory way, I mean the kind of a resolution that can stop all these kind of things so that the university can continue to go on with this mandate. We are excited. We are hoping that the full ruling of the court will give some consequential orders that will allow the advocate to really continue.
And that's what we're not apprised with. And as I said earlier, we're going to wait for the full ruling to find out if there's indeed consequential orders in this, because what was read today was a conclusion of the judgment of the Supreme Court. So I'm sure you're aware of this. But then it appears that all of this development has led to some division amongst the lecturers and the officers at the University of Education. But how is this impacting on the work of the university?
It's really it's terrible. I can assure you it's terrible. And it's unfortunate that the leadership of the university is denying it. Now, every lecturer, even students, will have to look over their shoulders before they speak. Now, this is very bad. In an academia, when usually the administrators will not talk because they work with their senior people and usually they're supposed to keep quiet. In the academia, lecturers are spoken, they talk about their research, they talk about issues of development in the whole country, they critique the whole policy and all that, and they have their opinion on issues. So students can deliberate things in the classroom, outside, and criticize their lecturers, criticize everything. Now it's very strange that even students now have to take recorders to go and record their lecturers, to go and give it to somebody so that they can be sacked, they can be transferred, they can be, all sort of things can be done. This is not the way to go. And I used to thought that when the presidency came to participate in the investiture,
yes,
and actually appeal that we can go on the reconciliation route, that was going to end it all. He came here last year and made the appeal that council should try and resolve the problem. It didn't work out. Now he came again, the investiture, actually for some of us, knowing the kind of confusion that's on this campus, we thought that he would not even have come to meddle himself, because this ruling and this judgment actually messes him up, because we didn't expect the president to come here and then people are divided on issues. But now he came, unfortunately, he said, look, let's go on the reconciliation route.
Right.
Now it doesn't appear that it is working, and that's why I'm worried. Because it means that even though the president says, I'm backing you, the leadership to work here, it's taken on the wrong side, that I'm backing you to intimidate, to transfer who they don't want to start, and then to take people in a position, which I think it's not helping the group of the university.
Right, Prof. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Professor Ephraim Aya Nso is the principal of the Colleges of Education, that's the Colleges of Languages at the University of Education, Winneba.
Still on education-related issues, leadership of Coalition of Concerned Teachers has directed all members to lay down their tools effective tomorrow, November 1. Now, the coalition wants issues on salary arrears addressed and a refund of over 9 million cedis for the SIC GES life insurance policy, which they claim was imposed on their members. Here's reports by George Quenin.
According to the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, government still owes thousands of teachers from 2013 to date. A situation that finds worrying. Members have been directed to lay down their tools effective November 1.
All teachers should join in this call. People have taken us for granted. Let me reiterate that it is not a demonstration. We wake up tomorrow morning, we will sleep in the comfort of our homes. If we get our 2 cedis and we buy our house akoko and kusi, we will drink and then we'll sleep.
On the SICGS insurance policy, the coalition requested that it be scrapped, a refund of the deductions we paid to members.
Every every single month deduction which is done translates into millions and millions of Ghana cedis. So the 3 month deduction that has been done, where is the money? And who is keeping custody of that money? If that money was even put in a treasury bill with 10% interest rate, from June till now, how much interest will have that money earned?
Leadership cautioned government to stick to what the law says concerning the deduction of monies from workers' salaries.
Let's go on to a story that we've been following for quite a while now. The Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority insists spending 1 million cedis to convert a 2-bedroom house into a 4-bedroom house is value for money after a strict auditing of the facility. Now, according to the Maritime Authority boss, fixing 11 air conditioners in his house does not reflect his status as a Director General overseeing the country's maritime waters.
Number 6 5th Circular Road Apartment, located in Cantonment, recently refurbished. It is the official residence of the Director General of the Ghana Maritime Authority, renovated at the cost of 1 million cedis.
1 million Ghana cedis that has been used to renovate a 2-bedroom house for the Director General. Tender process went through administration. The bills of quantities was done by prestige. So the Director General could not have influenced the outcome and gave it to my friend and said, increase the money so that when they do it, I can have your so-called chop chop. That building is now made out of 4 bedrooms of the main structure, the main house. A living room, a dining room, kitchen, a family room, a library, and a basement.
He was emphatic. He deserves more.
Some Director Generals have a house allocated to them and have even a separate guest house for entertainment. And if this Director General or any other Director General of Ghana Maritime Authority who superintend over the maritime industry in Ghana cannot have a 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom, then I say it's mediocrity.
There are concerns about the source of funds for the project, which has since been completed, as the authority at the beginning of his administration complained about his inability to support renting and accommodation for the Director General.
20% of my salary or any other predecessor who will come and take over will be taking 20%. So over a period, it is going to pay for itself.
The issue of the number of air conditioners in the house has also emerged.
Each one of them to have an air conditioner will be 13. So the 11 is not enough. And by the way, we don't put them all together.
A Director General who says he is unfazed about what he describes as smear campaigns, but will focus on ensuring the authority attains the target of paying dividends to the state.
We're certainly going to stay on that particular development and bring you a lot more on it in our subsequent bulletins. But let's head to Parliament now, where the Right to Information Bill is at the consideration stage, and the bill is coming through a number of amendments. Now, the amendments include information to be considered confidential and exempted from disclosure.
Chairman of the Select Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Banda Ben Abdallah, introduced an amendment to Clause 8 of the Right to Information Bill to include exemption information communicated in confidence by public institutions.
Information not to be disclosed is a decision that rests between one state and the other. Catchword, Mr. Speaker, here is that information which is communicated in confidence. If the United States should communicate any information to Ghana in confidence, and Ghana should accept that information as being confidential, Mr. Speaker, that information ought not to be revealed.
Contributing to the proceedings, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu noted certain information is crucial for the country's international relations and diplomacy.
Experience is that you want to exempt information if its revelation is communicated in confidence to a public institution. But Mr. Speaker, even though I support the chairman, I think we still have to improve this clause, because there are international public organizations. When you say public institutions, you are restricting it to Ghanaian institutions.
MP for Ningo Prampram Samuel Joyinati said it is important to check the Public Records and Archives Administration Act on exemptions.
We should relook, as in conjunction with this, at the PRAD Act, the Public Records Administration and Archiving Department Act. Because, Mr. Speaker, we do not have a classification of exempt information in Ghana. So we do not have, in other jurisdictions, some information can be declassified after 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years, or after 25 years. Or some can, it will never be declassified.
Chairman of the Select Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs noted the disclosure and non-disclosure clauses in the bill are not in isolation.
Mr. Speaker, if you go to clause 17 of the bill, it states very clearly and unambiguously that disclosure for the protection of public interest. So all the classes of exempt information that we are discussing, Mr. Speaker, are not to be treated in isolation.
The House adjourned to reconvene on November 1.
Associate Parliament, Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Enos Hussaini, says the renewed energy and collaboration between the legislature and the executive is enough assurance that the Right to Information Bill will be passed during the session of Parliament. He was, however, skeptical the bill will be passed by the November 15 date as proposed.
There is a renewed commitment by the establishment, the executive and Parliament, working together to pass the bill. Yes, because it's a new legal regime. The conflict is some people are reading the bill must be subject to the protection of state secrets. Some of us are reading it to mean the right to information is absolute and can only derogate under special circumstances.
The MP for Tamale Central, Hussaini Inus Abdullah, indicated the bill, when passed, will help enforce a constitutional requirement.
What we are doing is to give vent to a constitutional provision that guarantees the right to information. This is one of the sunshine legislations. We need the bill to inform the citizens so that they can participate in effective governance of this country.
MP for Dancy Asokwa Katie Hammond, however, called for caution in passing the bill.
As for journalists, I can understand why you are anxious, but does it make for sensible governance? I am very uncomfortable. I mean, Britain has been in democracy for about 1,000 years. It's only in 2000, year 2000, that somebody thought, and that is Tony Blair, thought that we should have a right of information. Even that, after its passage, it was suspended for 5 years. In 2005, America, 200 years democracy. When did they have right to information? Just trace the history. Somehow, somebody is pressing it on Ghana. Have right to information. It has potential banana skins, and we got to look at it pretty carefully.
The legislators are not sure the bill will be passed by November 15.
There is a clause in there, clause 17. It is the most dangerous clause of all the clauses.
30 days, and that we can devote the afternoon sessions to working on the bill. Then that way we can expedite action on the bill.
You're watching News 360. Let's now turn to our MTN Vision reports this evening as our citizen journalist Mohammed Faraz reports on a deteriorating hospital building which is meant for a leprosarium at Inkanchana in the northern region.
This is Oti River Hospital, which was established in 1947 as one of the leprosariums in Ghana. This hospital, over the years, has served the people both in Ghana and the neighboring countries. As I speak today, the status of this hospital, ever since the British left the hospital for Ghanaians, has gradually deteriorated to the lowest level. every single equipment here you can think of. The hospital was very, very resourceful. But today, as I speak to you, there's nothing left here. It's either individuals have stolen some of them, or some of them have been left to rot. The people of this area need this hospital to be functional as it used to be. From Nkanchana at the Oti River Hospital, I am Mohammed Faras.
Now remember that you can also send your video reports to us via our WhatsApp number. It's 055-1433-044.
So live here on News 360. We'll be back with business news with Parkwesi Asari. Do stay.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the Business Report on News 360. My name is Parkwesi Asari. Let's begin with matters within the petroleum industry, and consumers are to expect between 2 and 4% reduction in fuel prices in the first pricing window of November 2018. According to projections by the Institute of Energy Security, the fall in crude oil prices, finished product prices on the international market, and the city's stability against other major trading currencies will contribute to the reduction. Currently, a litre of diesel and petrol is being sold at 5 cedi 21 pesos across all major filling stations, including Total and Shell, indicating a hike from 5 cedi 7 pesos. The institute is expecting some oil marketing companies to be influenced by the price deregulation policy to effect reductions beyond the projected margin. Meanwhile, the Institute of Energy Security and CATS International have called on government to scrap the special petroleum tax on fuel to reduce the burden on the consumer. They made the suggestion ahead of the 2019 budget presentation. While the Ministry of Finance is expected to present the 2019 budget on November 15. My colleague Noam Falon has the rest of the story.
Fuel prices exceeded the 5 cedi mark in the first pricing window of September. Since then, several stakeholders have called for measures to cushion Ghanaians as the prices of petroleum products keep rising.
Scrapping of the special petroleum tax. We still insist that it should be scrapped, and is going to help. What happens to the price of transportation? The moment fuel price go up, there's a temptation for these transporters to increase their prices as well. It goes to affect the economy. From that moment, goods and services also tend to go up. So in the long run, governments come back to receive the pinch of this.
Coordinator at CATS International, Apiakusi Edumako, explains removal of the SPT will lessen the impact of exchange rate vulnerabilities on consumers.
Remove the special petroleum taxes so that consumers in this country can have a sigh of relief.
Other expectations include a clear policy direction for the Tema Oil Refinery and the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company, BOST.
We also heard that Tema Oil Refinery was going to be turned into a tank farm by the former Energy Minister, Boache Jako. IES is expecting government to give a clear policy direction for Tema Oil Refinery. Are they going to revamp it? Are they going to expand it? 45,000 barrels per day is not enough to be competitive anywhere in the world.
Executive Director of the Institute of Energy Security, Parkwesi Anamwasechi, suggests hedging oil imports as a risk management strategy against fluctuations of crude oil prices and the exchange rate.
Well, to the telecoms industry, and mobile telephony company MTN has been rewarding its clients and stakeholders in Accra.
The awards were presented to the Tema Community 25, Tesano, Takrady and Tamale service centers and call center teams. Econet Media, Timwi and Ayo intermediaries were among the top 10 winners of the external stakeholders category. Key partners who received citations include Technotree Convergence, Ison PBU International Limited, Innova DDP and Huawei Technologies. Chief Executive Officer Selom Adadivo underscored the importance of quality customer service.
The one thing that transcends all companies that have been successful and have been able to maintain that success over a period is the way they treat and handle customers. And this is why customer service is extremely important. And we at MTN strive for perfection, and we will continue to put in what we have to put in to not just lead the market, not just lead in customer service, but ultimately make sure that our customer needs are fully satisfied and our customers are the happiest customers.
Customer Relations Executive Jemima Kote Walsh promised to maintain best customer service delivery.
Customer service is at the forefront of everything we do as it leads our whole customer experience agenda, and we will stay committed to pushing this even higher. We appreciate our customers and would really like to thank them for giving us the opportunity to serve and care for them, and to say that we stay committed to, enhancing the experience on our network.
MTN Business over the past 20 years has been sustained due to its dedication to an outstanding customer service.
That's all for the very latest in the world of business. Thanks for watching. For more business news stories, do log on to our website www.3news.com. My name is Pa Kwesi Asare.
Thanks, Parkasi, for the business news. Let's take a look at some other stories this evening as the Eastern Corridor Road continues to deteriorate following the withdrawal of contractors from site. Now, the Hohoe-Jasikan stretch until last week Thursday was cut off at Akpafu Odome, leaving residents and commuters stranded. Peter Kwao Adata reports that most commuters now have to resort to the Kpando Abotoase Road through Accra to Jasikan.
Construction work on the 32-kilometer Hohoe-Jasikan stretch and other portions of the Eastern Corridor Road were suspended shortly after the change of government in 2017, leaving it in a more deplorable state. The Hohoe-Jasikan stretch is the worst affected. Until last week, the road was completely cut off here at Akpafu Odome, separating residents of communities south and north between the two districts. Those who dared to travel had to wade through the pool of muddy water to join other vehicles or motorbikes at both ends. The only alternative, which is still the case for most drivers, is the long but relatively better Kpando Tapa Abotase Road, which links Jasikan via Akabwim. We were told the contractor working on a feeder Cocoa Road in the area intervened to reshape the worst parts here at Odome to allow partial access, and the Coalition for Development in Buem have expressed disappointment at the turn of events. All speakers at the 2018 Buem Congress, hosted by Accra Buem, blamed successive governments of paying lip service to the reconstruction of the road. Chairman of the Coalition of Peace and Development in Buem, Isaka Braima, is hopeful the proposed partitioning of the Volta region would help improve their fortunes.
The lack of proportionate development of the area for all these years, despite the fact that the OT enclave is the food basket of the Volta region and Ghana as a whole, shall be addressed by the creation of the OT region.
The Deputy Volta Regional Minister, Maxwell Kofi Blagoji, assured them of resumption of construction work in November.
I am here to announce to you that next week, the road between Hohoe and Jasikan, the Minister for Roads and Highways.
The Eastern Corridor Roads project, designated as N2 of the National Road Network, is a south to north road which starts from the Tema motorway and ends at Kulungugu on the country's border with Burkina Faso. It is 965 kilometers long and traverses the Greater Accra, Eastern, Volta, Northern and Upper East regions.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that promise to have the contractor return back to that portion of the Eastern Corridor roads within the timeline given by the Deputy Water Regional Minister. Well, President Akufo-Addo has urged members of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, that's OECD, to help build a prosperous Africa with equal opportunity for all. Addressing the 18th OECD International Forum on Africa in Paris, he urged the OECD and Africa to establish a relationship based on trade and investment cooperation.
According to President Akufo-Addo, Africa's huge natural resources could form the base for processing industries and allied downstream manufacturing industries. Africa possesses half of the world's uncultivated arable land, which when fully utilized could provide the continent foodstuffs and diversified agro-based economic activities. Africa's population is expected to increase to 2 billion in 20 years. According to President Akufo-Addo, this represents a huge market OECD countries could compete for, with significant potential employment and income impact in those countries.
So there are tremendous opportunities for shared prosperity for OECD and Africa's countries in Africa's rapid economic growth and transformation. On our own, we in Africa are already beginning to chart a new path. Across the continent, macroeconomic management has improved considerably in recent years.
President Akufo-Addo urged OECD countries to support growth-enhancing interventions, particularly infrastructure and skills development. Africa is estimated to have infrastructure needs of some $170 billion a year and a financing gap of some $108 billion. President Akufo-Addo advocated for the establishment of a joint Africa-OECD technical committee to design procedures for processing infrastructural projects in Africa.
My government would like to initiate the discussion on constituting the joint technical committee in consultation with others, such as the African Union Commission, the OECD Development Center, the ADB, the World Bank, the Compact with Africa, and the African Center for Economic Transformation in Accra, which has been helping coordinate peer learning among the CWA countries.
OECD countries were also implored to build strategic partnerships focused on Africa's growth and transformation.
Stay with us here on News 360 for the latest of sports news, coming up with Thierry Nan shortly.
Hello, good evening, and it's time for us to do some sports right here on News 360 with me, Thierry Nan. The world of sports that would be, and well, we're starting off with Kwesi Nyantakyi, former Ghana Football Association president. Kwesi Nyantakyi is set to appeal to sports' highest court to overturn his lifetime ban from football-related activities. The 47-year-old, who was also FIFA Council member and CAF's first vice president, suffered a major blow on Tuesday after almost 4 months out, since he was, captured in an investigative documentary by Ghanaian journalist Anas Arimiyao Anas engaging in corrupt and bribery activities. On Tuesday, the West African nation was thrown into a state of shock after the World Football Governing Body FIFA banned Mr. Nyantakyi from all football-related activities for life and fined him Swiss francs, that is 500,000. All right, but I need you to see this particular statement that he put out there just a few hours ago. According to Mr. Nyantakyi, I wish to express my shock and deep sadness after receiving the decision from the FIFA Ethics Adjudicatory Committee on Tuesday. My legal advisors are under my instructions to urgently appeal the decision, as I think it was unfair, harsh, and unwarranted. At this point, I am unable to provide any further details as my lawyers are reviewing the facts for appeal at the Court of Arbitration for Sport. All right, so Kwesi Nyantakyi has proven that he's a man who does not go down easily. But that's exactly what the man who began all of it, all of this particular investigative piece, Anas Arimiyahu Anas, also held that particular opinion. When we spoke to him exclusively some months back, he said he expected Kwesi Nyantakyi to go down with the fight.
Look, we didn't start this game today. I've done plenty undercover work. It's the same chorus they sing. Cut and paste, you manufactured the pictures, you did this, you did that. At the end of the day, look, FIFA is not a foolish organization. Don't forget, within 48 hours of my petition reaching FIFA, they had banned him. Why? Because they had seen the prima facie evidence. Forget not, I'm a lawyer, and I take evidence very, very seriously. Because look, if I don't, I'll end up going into jail myself. So, all this cut and paste is a fruitless attempt at defending himself. It will end up nowhere. All the court actions he's talking about, he's not going to do. He knows. He knows very, very well. So, I'm not perturbed at all about these oppositions. I get them every single time I do my stories. People have issues with methodology, they're entitled to it. But look, as far as we go by the strict rules and regulation that is supposed to govern a football guru like him.
Kwesi Nyantakyi gathering that particular money there. And Nas said it was $65,000. He says it was only $40,000 that he took. But FIFA do not care. They say you took less, but you're paying $500,000, as a fine. So away from there, we go straight to some of the stories. Still on the African continent, I'm not sure if you've heard this. It's rather shocking. 10 Benin youth players and former Football Federation President Ajorin Mushafaratu have been handed prison sentences for age cheating. Now, Ekutonu court found them guilty of lying about their ages, which saw them failing MRI test in Niger. September's failed test saw Benin disqualified from last month's regional qualifying tournament in Niger for the 2019 Under-17 African Cup of Nations. The players were given 6-month prison sentences with 5 months suspended. 6-month prison sentence, 5 months suspended. What it effectively means is that the players are going to be serving 1 month in jail. But that's exactly how we bring an end to the Sports Bulletin. We'll bring you more later at 9:30 p.m. Sports Unlimited. My name is Thierry Nyan. Keep watching TV3.
Welcome back to News 360. On the international front this evening, Turkey has given its first official statement on how writer Jamal Khashoggi was killed, saying he was immediately strangled and then dismembered. The statement from Chief Prosecutor Irfan Fidan comes after weeks of reports in local media about the murder at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul.
Nigerian police have arrested 400 members of a Shia Muslim sect after days of deadly protests in the capital. The pro-Iran Islamic Movement of Nigeria, IMN, protesters demanded the release of their leader Ibrahim Zakzaki in custody for 34 months. The army admits that 3 people were killed in clashes in Abuja on Monday, but the IMN says that dozens died. In 2016, a judicial inquiry found that the army had killed more than 300 Shia Muslims during clashes in the north. I'll be back after this with some entertainment news to stay.
Hello, my name is Miriam Osei Ajuman. Let's do some entertainment news, starting with comedy. Now, ace comedian and satirist Kweku Sintim Misa, aka KSM, has urged Ghanaian comedians to step up their game if they want to stay competitive. The celebrated TV show host is convinced comedians knowing their stuff and improving on their craft is the prerequisite for breakthrough.
People that sell the PK and things, when they come, they say it 3 times, eh? Yeah, PK, 3 times. It's like a law. Pure water. You look, when you're going, you look. Very soon you'll be in a car and you're going, yes, nufo.
With a career spanning over 2 decades, KSM, as he is affectionately called, is Ghana's most decorated stand-up comedian. KSM is well known and admired for writing and starring in a series of one-man comedy shows, notably The Saga of the Returnee, Politically Incorrect, and A Fierce Rebel.
I remember a long time ago, when you talk about comedy, then it was KSM. Well, before then there was Fritz and there was Tommy Allen Forsen, but the name KSM was so much.
The Ace satirist is recognized for inspiring and paving the way for a new generation of promising comedians. That's an achievement the Trailblazer feels so much proud about.
Well, I'm very, very happy, with the state of comedy. Now there's a whole variety of people, and they're all doing extremely well. We have James Brown, we have Augie Dennis, DKB, and all the stuff. So I think there has been a marked improvement from the days when I was reigning to the days where you actually have a whole multitude of comedians to deal with.
The Ace satirist, however, thinks there is a general need for comedians to step up their game to grow the art form and stay competitive.
The comedians should concentrate on the craft. I want them to improve their craft. I want them to be very fluid and flow. And once we have a body of comedians that know their act so well, that flow, that deliver, then we can get to the next step of, okay, what do we do now with this group of talented people?
Sharing his views on happenings on the local entertainment scenes, KSM regretted too much time is wasted discussing trivial issues to the detriment of the very things that directly impacts the industry.
I'm interested in directors being on time. I'm interested in actors respecting their call. I'm interested in the industry paying actors what they're due. If we can get these things together, then we can find the name, So we don't waste too much time on, do we need an organization? Should somebody here spearhead this? Once the act is together, trust me, these things will follow.
Well, it's been a while since KSM starred in a comic play. Has the comedy legend hanged his boots?
December 5th, I turned 62. And on the 7th, I have my 62nd birthday on stage. I'll be doing a show called KSM Unchained.
And we're looking forward to that show. Now, American rapper Kanye West says he's distancing himself from politics. Rapper Kanye West, who earlier this month hacked Donald Trump in the Oval Office, declared on Tuesday that he had been used to spread messages I don't believe in and would not be distancing himself from politics. The statement is likely to come as a blow to the U.S. president, who has touted West as a prominent black supporter, even as his approval rating amongst African Americans is low. In a series of tweets posted on Tuesday afternoon, West claimed his eyes are now wide open. The rapper's tweets also clarified his political beliefs, stressing he supports prison reform and common sense gun laws. Well, that's about it for entertainment news tonight. I'm Miriam Osei Ajiman. There's more news on 3news.com. Good evening.
Well, Kanye West always.
Well, he should just stay out.
Surprising us.
Focus on music.
Yes. Well, that's how we bring an end to News 360 this evening. Thanks so much for watching. There's more news on our website. It's 3news.com. I'm Natalie Fort.
Remember, news at 10 will be simulcast on that's 3FM 92.7. My name is Alfred Okansi. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.